Hey, welcome back to Damon's Metal Casting. This video has been sponsored by Vevor. Vevor sent me their 12-kilogram furnace to try out, and we're gonna go ahead and do that. You probably noticed there's some stuff on the side of it. I already coated it. I already made some lifting tongs and some pouring tongs. And I think it'd be a great video to show how massive this really is. If you watch my previous videos, this is the crucible that I've been using in my previous videos. Look at the size difference. That is just incredible. And to let you know how much aluminum this one holds, here's a project I did with that crucible, and that basically took all that aluminum to do that project there out of that crucible. So this is great, having so much more opportunities just because of the size of it. So we'll go through the specs and everything of this. I have a bunch of aluminum scrap that we can go ahead and melt in here and see how much it can hold. Let's go ahead and get started. This is a heart pattern I planned on eventually trying to sell, so we'll go ahead and try it out and see how well it casts in this video. Be more interesting than just doing ingots. Here, I think I'd just like to see what the burners look like before I started, make sure they're burning even and that the coating that I put on there didn't impact them. This is where I really appreciate having a large crucible. You don't have to break the parts down so small, and they still fit in there nicely. And you can fit a lot more in at one time. So at the 19-minute mark, you can see that the aluminum finally melted. It took a while because there's a lot of thermal mass to heat up. That crucible's huge. And actually, in the next few sections, you'll see it actually gets going quicker because everything's already hot. So now it's at the 60-minute mark. I also had to ramp the temperature up to 1455 degrees Fahrenheit. The aluminum for me seems to pour really well at that temperature, and I can tell it's that temperature because I have a temperature probe that I'm putting in right now to check it. Also, it probably could have heated up and melted a little quicker than what I had. I just wasn't aggressive on the heat the very first time I used this furnace. I don't want to stress the crucible or anything like that, so I just wanted to take it easy. And like I said, it could have gone a lot hotter than what I ran it at.
Oops.
All right, let's go ahead and check out how the casting did. Yep, did pretty good. Furnace heated the aluminum up hot enough to make a good casting. Okay, so now that we did a little bit of casting, let's go ahead and get to my thoughts on this 12 kilogram furnace that Vevor sent me to try out on my channel. And again, they sponsored me. They sent me this free of charge. We got 5.6 pounds of aluminum, which I thought was pretty good. I never got that with my crucible. Here's my crucible again, you can tell. It's very small. And you know, the benefits to having a bigger crucible means I don't have to cut scraps down as small to get them in there. I know some people like to do pop cans and scrap pop cans, and this one here is basically the size of a pop can. Like you put a pop can in there and that's it. So, you know, there's some situations where, yeah, bigger is better. You know, when you can fit more pieces in there and you don't have to cut them as small and cut as many to do that, that is great for scrapping aluminum or recycling aluminum in my case to make my stuff. The other thing, I always wanted to get a bigger furnace because all of a sudden now I have ideas that I want to sell some things. Well, I can pack up multiple sand molds now and pour multiple sand molds instead of just one at a time, because this basically fills maybe 1 or 2 mold cavities and that's about it. Again, you can see all the aluminum that was able to melt at one time. It was 5.6 pounds. That's pretty good. I do like how they have the burners off to the side. It's a dual burner. Mine only has one burner and it hits straight on the crucible. So I'll show that real quick. See, they put it dead center in my old one. And I don't like that because you're putting a lot of heat directly on your crucible and instead of trying to spread it out. So Vevor did a good job doing that. So they have a flame that swirls inside of it. The other thing that I like is some furnaces actually have them opposing, so that way you have a little bit of a flame going each way for a little bit more even heat. My problem with that is when you get that set up, you have these hoses just sticking out. And my protective gear that I use, I don't have very good sight in. And I don't want anything my toes could catch or I could trip over. So I do like everything on one side so I could just put it facing backwards and do everything from the front. I like that a lot. Again, I think it worked out really well. I didn't get an opportunity to melt brass and some of the other metals it can do. Maybe that'll be down the road on my channel because I really intend to keep using this. Thanks Vevor for sending it to me. And as far as I can tell, it was a pretty good furnace and I enjoyed using it. So thanks again. And I hope you got some good info from this video.